Have you ever noticed that after a woman cheats, something changes? But not always in the way you'd expect. Sometimes she becomes overly sweet, almost like she's trying too hard. Other times, she lashes out for no reason. Or maybe she suddenly seems like a completely different person, more attentive, more apologetic, almost desperate to fix everything. But here's the thing, these behaviors aren't random. They're not just personality quirks. They're hidden signs of guilt, signals she can't control, even if she wants to. And if you've been wondering whether she's hiding something, these signs could be the quiet truth she's trying to suppress. In this video, we're going to break down the 5 hidden guilty behaviors women display after cheating, why they happen, and how to notice them before it's too late. By the end, you'll see patterns that most men completely miss, patterns that reveal the truth behind her actions. Part 1. Overcompensation. Have you noticed her suddenly doing more than usual? Texting more, complimenting more, always agreeing with you, or going out of her way to make you happy? On the surface, it looks sweet, maybe even romantic. But here's the hidden truth. This is overcompensation, and it's one of the clearest signs of hidden guilt. Overcompensation happens because when someone feels guilty, the mind unconsciously tries to balance the scales. She knows deep down that she's done something wrong, and her behavior shifts, often drastically, to cover that internal discomfort. She might be overly attentive, texting at unusual hours or responding instantly, buy small gifts or do favors she normally wouldn't, agree with everything you say, even when she has a different opinion. At first, it can feel flattering. You might think she's suddenly more invested in you, more caring. But the truth is, this is a mask, a subconscious attempt to soothe her own guilt, rather than a reflection of authentic love or commitment. Imagine this. You've been dating someone for a few months, and suddenly she's sending long, affectionate messages you've never received before. She's complimenting you constantly, insisting she loves spending time with you, and even offering to change little habits she used to avoid. It feels amazing at first, but if you pay close attention, you notice the timing. These changes often come after a period where she's been distant, secretive, or evasive. That sudden surge of attention, that's her guilt showing up as overcompensation. From a psychological perspective, guilt manifests as a need to restore balance, to make amends, even unconsciously. In women, this often translates into behaviors aimed at reassurance, connection, or control. She's trying to prove to herself and to you that she's still a good partner. And the tricky part, she might not even realize she's doing it. To her, it feels natural. To you, it feels suspicious. And that's exactly why men often miss it. They see the effort, not the motive behind it. But overcompensation isn't the only sign. Sometimes guilt doesn't make her sweeter, it makes her irritable, frustrated, or even angry. And that's when things start to feel confusing. Part 2, irritability and random anger. Have you ever noticed her snapping at you over the smallest things? Things that wouldn't normally bother her? Maybe she's irritable, moody, or picks fights out of nowhere. On the surface, it seems unprovoked. But the truth is, guilt can make her unpredictable, even hostile. When someone carries guilt, especially hidden guilt, it creates internal tension. That tension needs an outlet. And for some women, it comes out as irritability or sudden anger directed at those closest to her. She might overreact to minor mistakes, be sarcastic or passive-aggressive, get defensive when you ask simple questions. This behavior often confuses men. One day she's warm and attentive, the next she's distant or snapping at you for no clear reason. That unpredictability is a classic sign of internal conflict, guilt fighting against her desire to appear normal and happy. Think about this. You notice she's been distant for a few days, maybe hiding her phone a little more or acting unusually private. Then suddenly she lashes out at you over something trivial. Maybe you didn't text back fast enough or you forgot a minor detail. At first you wonder, did I do something wrong? But often the anger isn't about you at all. It's a displaced reaction, guilt seeking an outlet, frustration at herself, and fear of being caught all rolled into one emotional explosion. Psychologists call this guilt-induced irritability. It's subconscious. She might not even connect her mood swings to her actions. Her mind is trying to cope with shame, regret, and fear. And the simplest way to release the pressure is through anger or irritability directed at those closest to her. The danger for men is mistaking this for a reflection of their own behavior, feeling blamed or responsible. In reality, it's her internal guilt manifesting outwardly. Imagine this. You ask her about her day, casually, and she snaps, accusing you of being careless or inattentive. Later, she's perfectly fine, almost apologetic. These mood swings aren't random. They're guilt disguised as emotional outbursts. And if irritability isn't obvious enough, guilt can also show up in a more defensive and exaggerated way. Suddenly, every question feels like an attack, and every comment feels like a trap, leading us into part 3, defensive overreaction. Have you ever asked her a simple question and suddenly she feels attacked? Or maybe you make an innocent comment and she reacts like it's a personal attack. This isn't just moodiness or sensitivity. It's a classic sign of guilt showing through defensiveness. When a woman has cheated, guilt creates an inner sense of vulnerability. She knows there's a secret she's carrying, and her subconscious mind is constantly on alert. Every question, comment, or observation feels like it could expose her truth. The result is defensive overreaction, a strong, often exaggerated response meant to protect herself emotionally. Some examples include responding angrily or sarcastically to a harmless question, over-explaining her actions, sometimes in ways that don't even make sense, flipping a normal conversation into a debate or argument. To an outside observer, it seems irrational. But internally, she's operating from fear. The fear of being caught, the fear of judgment, the fear of guilt being exposed. Picture this. You casually ask her, "Who were you texting earlier?" And suddenly she becomes defensive, accusing you of not trusting her. She might say things like, "Why are you even asking that?" Or, "You think I'd lie to you?" On the surface, it seems like she's turning the tables, but underneath, it's guilt manifesting as overprotective defensiveness. She's not trying to manipulate you. She's trying to shield herself from her own shame. Defensive overreaction is rooted in a combination of fear and guilt. When someone carries hidden wrongdoing, their brain perceives even neutral inquiries as threats. This is why even neutral conversations can trigger exaggerated emotional responses. Men often misinterpret this as anger at themselves, but in reality, the reaction has little to do with you. It's her subconscious trying to protect a fragile internal state. And yet, guilt doesn't only make her defensive. Sometimes it flips into action. She suddenly feels the need to fix everything, repair the damage, or make amends, even if you didn't notice anything was wrong. Part 4. Sudden effort to fix things. Have you ever noticed her suddenly going out of her way to make everything perfect between you two? Maybe she starts planning dates, apologizing more than usual, or trying to resolve problems you didn't even realize existed. At first, it seems thoughtful, but here's the truth. This is often guilt pushing her to repair what she feels she's broken. When someone feels guilty about their actions, especially cheating, their mind instinctively seeks balance. This isn't always conscious. She might feel like she has to overcorrect or make amends, as if her efforts could erase what's already done. This can show up in many ways: going out of her way to anticipate your needs, apologizing repeatedly, even when you haven't complained, trying to resolve past arguments, or
Part 5. The confession, voluntary or forced. Eventually, guilt has a way of breaking through no matter how hard someone tries to hide it. Sometimes it comes out in subtle hints. Other times it erupts as a full confession, a truth she can no longer suppress. And when this happens, everything becomes clear. A confession doesn't always mean she will sit you down and tell you everything. Sometimes it's accidental, a slip of the tongue, a text sent to the wrong person, or a hint dropped in conversation. Other times she might voluntarily admit something after the weight of guilt becomes unbearable. Psychologically, this is because guilt is self-punishing. It creates constant inner pressure, anxiety, and stress. Humans are wired to seek release from that pressure. Confession, even partial, is the ultimate release valve. Common forms of confession include admitting to feelings of regret or wrongdoing indirectly, like, "I feel like I messed up," or "There's something I need to tell you." The tension you've sensed, the mood swings, the efforts to fix things, they all make sense now. This is guilt reaching its tipping point. It's not manipulation, it's the mind seeking relief from the heavy weight of secret wrongdoing. From a psychological perspective, guilt has 3 stages: internal tension, subconscious behaviors like overcompensation, irritability, and defensiveness; behavioral attempts at balance, sudden efforts to repair, appease, or overcorrect; and release, confession, whether voluntary or forced. Recognizing these stages can give you clarity. It allows you to see her behaviors for what they truly are, signals of hidden guilt, rather than guessing or overanalyzing. You might notice her making small admissions, apologizing for small lies, expressing anxiety over honesty, or hinting at mistakes. These are all subtle forms of confession, and sometimes the first real clue is not what she says, but how she acts. A shift in energy, sincerity in effort, or moments of emotional vulnerability. Understanding these hidden guilty signs, overcompensation, irritability, defensive overreaction, sudden efforts to fix things, and confession, gives you a window into her internal state, not to accuse, but to understand patterns, protect yourself emotionally, and see behavior as it truly is. Guilt is a powerful emotion. It shapes behavior in ways that are often subtle, confusing, or even contradictory. When you can recognize these patterns, you gain clarity about the relationship, her intentions, and her emotional state. Key takeaways: overcompensation. Excessive attention or effort is often a mask for hidden guilt. Irritability and random anger can signal internal tension. Defensive overreaction. Exaggerated responses are a protective mechanism. Sudden effort to fix things? Attempts to repair and overcorrect reveal subconscious remorse. And the confession. Whether subtle or full, confession is guilt seeking release. Understanding these signs isn't about suspicion or paranoia. It's about awareness. It allows you to observe behavior objectively without letting emotions cloud your judgment. And remember, guilt manifests differently for everyone. These behaviors are signals, not guarantees. But when multiple signs appear together, it's often a strong indicator that something is unresolved beneath the surface. So the next time you notice sudden changes in her behavior, the over-the-top sweetness, the unexpected irritability, the defensive reactions, or the urgent need to fix things, pay attention, listen carefully, watch the patterns, because guilt has a way of revealing the truth, even when words fail.